Hey guys, Jason Sensational here. I just wanted to quickly update you guys on what is something rather unexpected, especially for their patch note cadences. But there is a hotfix coming out later today. This is actually a very impactful one, and I'm really surprised to see it, but also very happy. So let's just talk over a little bit, and we'll figure out what gets shaken up. So just starting off, there are 5 different changes. The first one is Poppy. I think to anyone who thought Poppy got nerfed by being changed into a, was it 3/3, is kind of lying to themselves. Poppy's obvious power level came from being able to buff up the board, and being lowered 1 attack didn't really do that much, just because nothing it really wanted to play had more than 4 attack. Even more than 3 attacks. So Poppy being changed to a 2/3 here is still pretty impactful. Now only being buffed to a 3/4 makes it a lot harder to trade into things. Now you could play like a 4/4 on 4, or a lot of 4 drops that you play can just trade into Poppy, provided you're playing like a mid-range deck. So now Poppy's survivability, of course, is diminished by quite a bit. Obviously it can't trade into other units as well, so maybe players have to think about attacking with Poppy twice, or saving like a combat trick specifically in order to need to attack with Poppy. But the difference between 3 attack and 2 attack, I think, is still rather minuscule. Buffing 3 attack units, there weren't that many, maybe like Lecturing Yordle or anything else. You can like play other cards that buff Poppy's attack before attacking. So this change doesn't affect its board buffs as much, but rather just it diminishes its ability to trade up really effectively. I still think Poppy's gonna be fine, but as we go further along, you'll see that Yordle Explorer got nerfed, and that's probably a much bigger change to the whole thing. Gangplank. I think Gangplank was definitely on a lot of people's radar, just super powerful, being able to level up on turn 5. Obviously that hasn't changed, it just got a 1 health stat reduction, being able to kill it a little bit easier. Now again, Gangplank level 2 on turn 5 as a 6/5 is still a huge threat to a lot of decks. A lot of decks still also can't really deal with it, but now being able to trade 5 mana for 5 mana, so like saying being able to Thermo Gangplank is now at least like a fair trade. Beforehand, you have to pay 6 mana Thermo to kill a 5 mana Gangplank. That's definitely felt really bad. And of course, Gangplank level 1 being able to easier to kill, 4 health, Flock, Black Spear, things like that. It's just harder to drop Gangplank down before he's leveled up, and that again affects its survivability by quite a bit. But Plunder overall as a deck, pretty much the only really big Gangplank deck played at the moment. I still see Plunder being a very strong archetype and a very strong deck overall. Any deck outside of Plunder might struggle a little bit more, just because one, they probably don't level Gangplank as fast, so the later the game goes, the health difference will make a big difference. And then two, I don't know if there was a 2, but that's kind of that. Yordle Explorer. Yordle Explorer was a 2/2 that said once you play a Yordle, grant it +1/+1. Now down to +1/+0. So this is like a straight up temple treatment. If you guys are unfamiliar with, I even forgot the whole card name was called, but Temple and Targon did a very similar thing. And once they removed the health buff off of it, it just never saw play again. Obviously other things, including the Aphelios nerf, added to that, but this 1 health change is really huge. No longer do Yordles scale out of proportion like too fast, too quickly. The attack again, be able to trade up a little bit is good, but I no longer see Yordle Explorer being able to be played within the Poppy Rally decks. I will say, granting Poppy +1 attack is nice, but again, I don't think that's super relevant. The 1 health is where things really came in, and this change definitely impacts Poppy Rally by a considerable amount. So now maybe you're forced to rely on like Yordle Captain, and that comes down on turn 4, which is 2 turns later. So definitely really diminishes the power level of the early game. And maybe we see like a shift back to the elusive rally decks, so like Zed Poppy or something like that. Oh, also, I guess finally enough, Poppy no longer buffs Zed. Actually, that's not true. Never mind. Or is that true? Poppy buffs, yeah, Poppy no longer buffs Zed, right? God Willow Seedling. And so next two are impacting directly Kennen Ezreal, or just any cannon deck particularly. Starting with God Willow Ceiling, countdown 2 to countdown 3. I think this is a really huge change. God Willow Ceiling was one of the strongest cards, being able to proc it, on your opponent's attack turn and get an open stun. This countdown 3 will slow that down a lot, slow down Kennen's level up considerably. And now you have to time this differently, right? Before you count down 2, you play it on your turn, it countdowns to your opponent turn, and it counts, no, I lied. But anyways, the countdown 3, you have to time it 1 turn early if you want to open out with the cannon in order to stun a unit, and obviously this slows down it by a lot. I think the next one is probably the biggest one. This is a Kinko Wayfinder, from summons 2 1-cost units to summon 2 different 1-cost units. Definitely very, very huge. Now, if you want to play Kinko Wayfinder, I think you want to play a second different 1-cost unit. Just pulling 1 cannon out of the deck instead of like 1 cannon plus 1 like dancing droplet, I think will make a huge difference. Decks that will opt to play only 1 1-cost unit and Kinko Wayfinder probably suffer a little bit. Now this also diminishes your ability to get cannons down on the board. So before you can get 3 cannons pretty easily onto the board, now only be able to get 2 is again a very, very big change, because cannon strength sorry about that. Cannon strength, a lot of it comes from being able to summon out multiple cannons, and Kinko Wayfinder was really that big card to cheat them out. Of course, you can still replay Kinko Wayfinders. Now you won't find yourself in scenarios where you just don't have 2 cannons in your deck. But this is definitely a huge impact. So across the board, the 2 main decks that got hit are Poppy Rally and Zed Cannon, which I think were the 2 strongest decks coming into this first week and a half of the meta. Now, I think some clear decks that weren't affected that will see some significant, boost, just because some of the other top decks got countered, are like Lee Sin Zoe, just a deck that continues to just go unchecked, which is a little bit bizarre. The Poppy deck being nerfed, the Ezreal deck, the Cannon Ezreal deck being nerfed, and the addition of Wounded White Flame. Zoe Lee just seems really powerful out of the gate, and there's not really a lot of counter to it outside of just the mini morph, Bandle City, Shellfolk kind of stuff. And of course, the other one is Pantheon. Pantheon did struggle a lot into the Ezreal Cannon deck. Maybe it still does, even though the Ezreal Cannon deck is a little bit slower, but I think that the Pantheon decks will see a little bit more power level to them, and they're already pretty strong going in. But a lot of decks were really hit by the as Cannon deck, just having such a dominance in the meta, and a lot of decks also just unable to match the tempo of Poppy rallies. So the meta was already really wide beforehand. These changes will only benefit that, really, and I would love to see what the new meta looks like. But those are some just initial thoughts. I can't wait to get into it. I'll be streaming later tonight as well, where the patch should be live, so we'll have to figure out what the heck we're gonna do. But thanks for tuning in, guys, tonight, or right now, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, guys.